guys, welcome to the Hungriest Knitter. This is episode 6, and it's cocktail time. I'm Rachel. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's been a crazy last couple of weeks. Isn't it always the same? And today there isn't going to be very much knitting. So I'm going to do the knitting right up top, so if that's all you're interested in, it's going to be brief. Today's going to be a little bit more about cooking and cocktailing, as I'm enjoying a Negroni. I just got home from work. I got out of work a little early today, and I'm enjoying my favorite before dinner cocktail, which I don't often treat myself to when I'm home alone, but it felt appropriate today. And I'll talk a little bit more about why I love Negronis. And also, I wanted to talk, since last time I feel like I talked a lot about my crafting philosophy, today I thought it would be fun to talk about my cooking philosophy and talk a little bit about what really inspires me when it comes to cooking. So let's get started. I hate to admit, there's only been one project I've worked on. It's my Mitsutama shawl. I've been having a lot of repetitive stress injury issues in my wrists and arms and kind of moving up into my shoulders. So I've had to cut back. It sucks. But that's all I can do right now. It's really weird because this happened to me 2 years ago, right before Maryland Sheep and Wool, which is coming up. The first weekend in May. But 2 years ago when this happened, I was in so much pain I almost didn't go to Maryland Sheep and Wool. I was beside myself. But my boyfriend talked me into going because he knew I would regret it if I didn't. So I've been trying to take better care of myself, and part of that is getting a more ergonomic workspace at the office, but another part of that is making sure that I'm taking care of my body when I'm knitting. I'm also going back to acupuncture because I found that helps a lot. But I definitely am feeling numbness in my hands and in my elbows, and that's a really bad sign. I haven't had that in 2 years. So certainly I've been knitting more, and that's not going to help. That being said, I've only really worked on one project, and I'm in the home stretch. So my Mitsutama shawl, I'm on the second skein. I am so thrilled with the way this looks. So I broke the cardinal rule with, for those of you who don't know, the Mitsutama shawl is designed by Olga Jazzy, and I'm knitting mine in Madeline Tosh 80-10-10 sport weight in the colorway Holy Festival, which they sell exclusively on their website, I believe. So it's like a hand-painted, multicolored gorgeousness. I am done with all the repeats and just need to do the garter edge bind off now, or the garter edging, which is like 3 rows of garter edge, or garter, what's the bumps, and bind off. So almost done. This will be perfect because I'll give it to my mom for Mother's Day as her present. I broke the cardinal rule with Madeline Tosh, which is that I haven't been alternating skeins, but I had a plan. I noticed when I wound the skeins that on one end was more saturated with colors, with dye, than the other end of the skein. So on this one, when I started at the bottom, I started with the least saturated end and went to the more saturated end. And so then I picked up on the second skein and went to the more colorful end. Let's put it that way. So you see it kind of like, it looks like it's raining, the color is raining down. I can't get over this. I think this looks stunning, and I think it's going to be magnificent when I block it. I'm thrilled with this. And it's so soft and buttery and incredible, and I love it so much. I'm so happy, and I'm really glad that's almost done because I think lace is hurting my hands a little bit. Even though this is a very simple very simple lace pattern, I would totally knit this again. I think this is a really cool design. The Mr. Thomas shawl. I love it. I love it. I love it. In case I haven't said that enough times, I'm a broken record on this podcast. That's the only thing I've knitted in 2 weeks. It hurts. It hurts to not knit. But I did do a little bit of shopping. First I did some shopping with Lene Yarns, which I'm really excited for that to come in. It might be a little while, but I don't care. I will wait as long as it takes. Vanessa's yarns are incredible, and I'm really excited for that to come in. And I bought knitting adjacent, we'll call it. I bought a print from Fringe Supply. I got the yarn pyramid. I love it so much. I can't wait to get a frame for it. I love the frame that Karen, the owner of Fringe Supply, shows it in on her site. I haven't found one quite like it yet. I might need to message her on Twitter or something to find out what she uses. But I love it so much. It'll be great just hanging up in my little crafty nook in my house. It's so cute. I was trying to convince my boyfriend to buy it for me. I was like giving him hints. It didn't work. He knew, he just didn't care. So he had already planned what he was buying me. So yeah, I figured treat yourself. And so I bought it, and I'm really happy. I love it. It's so cute. I can't wait to get it up on the wall. I think maybe once I get it up on the wall and I kind of get my little crafty nook together a little bit more, maybe we'll alternate between filming in my living room and filming in there. The problem is the light. I live on a first floor apartment, so we don't get a lot of great sunlight coming in just because we're so low and surrounded by some tall buildings. But I'd love for that to happen. So we'll see. We'll see what I can do. That said, that's all I'm talking about with knitting today. So if you're just here for the knitting, thank you for stopping by. And if not, let's talk about some cooking and some cocktails. So first, today's a Negroni day. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Negroni, but it is my favorite cocktail, hands down. And it is, I guess, one of the more, what makes it unusual, I suppose, what makes it stand out is that it's all booze. Every component in it is alcohol. So Negroni is 1 part gin, 1 part sweet vermouth, and 1 part Campari. And then which you stir, and then take a peel of either orange or lemon. I prefer orange. Some people enjoy lemon. And a twist of that. I like to rim the glass, get the oils on the glass, and then toss it in your drink. And I put 1 big ice cube in. It's melted down. I've been hanging out for a while. But we have those ice cube trays that are like the super big, like 2-inch cubes. So I put 1 big ice cube in so it doesn't dilute the drink too much. This is the perfect before dinner drink. You only need 1, of course, and it's quite bitter. The Campari is very bitter and herbal flavored, and then combined with the gin, which has that kind of floral, warm feeling to it, and the sweet vermouth gives it the smoothness. And then you don't shake it. My boyfriend and I went out for drinks over the weekend, and he ordered a Negroni because it's like his favorite too. And they shook it up, and it had little chips of ice in it. Here's a tip. If a drink is all alcohol, you never need to shake it because all the liquids in it will be the same density. So if you stir a Negroni today and put it in your fridge in a jar and then take it out a week later, it will still be combined. If you have a drink that is different components, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, then you would need to stir, or you'd need to shake. So yeah, that's my little cocktail tip for you. Apparently, the Negroni was created in the 1920s. The Count of Negroni, yes, the Count of Negroni went to a bar in Florence and ordered an Americano, not the coffee, also delicious, but the soda. But he requested that gin be swapped out for the soda water. And the Negroni was born. It's just the perfect, if you don't like bitter, you're not going to enjoy it. But I think there are vodka people and there are gin people. Gin people like the taste of alcohol, and vodka people want their drinks to be a little more mellow, I think. I love gin, and so the Negroni is my go-to. Not frequently, mind you. I guess the Negroni has been on my mind because I, over the weekend, went shopping. I popped into the liquor store to buy sweet vermouth for my boyfriend so that we could have Negronis at his house. And then gin was on sale, so I bought some gin. And then I saw all natural blood orange bitters. So I had to get that. And I just ended up with all this stuff, and I was like, I look like a lush. But if you're in my house and you see the options for alcohol that I have, it's very limited. And generally speaking, the only things I have on hand at any given time are gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari, because that's my cocktail. For my last birthday, I hosted a party at my house, and I offered two beverages: sparkling wine, prosecco, and Negronis, because those are my two faves. So it's your birthday, you get to do what you want, right? I'm a terrible hostess, aren't I? Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot in the last few weeks about my cooking philosophy and or not philosophy, I think that might be too stringent a word, but what excites me about cooking. And I thought we could talk about it, and I would love to hear from you guys what inspires you to cook. And I think the primary thing that inspires me to cook is ingredients. I'm not a recipes person. I've been trying to share a lot of recipes with you guys, and that's really not my MO. Most of the time when I'm cooking during the week, it is not driven by recipes. Maybe if I'm hosting people for dinner or something, but even then, that's not the thing that carries my cooking. What carries my cooking is great ingredients. I do spend a little bit more than most people would on their groceries. I cut up other places, and certainly I have the ability to do that, and that's wonderful. But I think if you're going to get things, I would rather have fewer ingredients and have them be really good than have a whole bunch of things that I'm not super confident in. And I think if you can get the best ingredients, you're going to get the best flavors out of them, and you need fewer to make a meal. The other thing that really drives my cooking is because I'm not cooking with recipes very often, I'm trying to cook based on the season, and I guess the only way to explain it is in sort of a rhythm. So my cooking is often based in components, and then I kind of build recipes from there or build meals from it. So, like last night, for example, I was chatting with my mom on the phone before I made dinner, and she asked me what I was going to cook. And I said, well, I have some wheat berries in the pantry that I just bought, so I'm going to cook those. And I have a sweet potato in the fridge that's been there for weeks, and I'm going to chop it up and roast it. And I know she was thinking that's not a dinner. And it's not. But I used those two building blocks, and then I took the other things that were in my pantry and in my fridge, and I turned it into a meal. So I took those wheat berries and seasoned them with a bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. And then took the sweet potato that I roasted it with a little bit of olive oil and cayenne pepper, and I put that in the bowl. And then I had half of a red bell pepper, so I chopped that up and put that in the bowl. And I had some slivered almonds. I thought that would add a nice crunch, so I put that in the bowl. And I had some Kalamata olives in the fridge, so I chopped those up, put them in the bowl. And that you see, like, you're starting to build a meal. You have all the components that you need. And then I just added a bit. I always have a bunch of different vinegars on hand, because I feel like if you have these kind of building blocks in your fridge, you can in your pantry, you can sort of do anything you want. So I had some pomegranate vinegar that I bought from Trader Joe's, which is a great place to get great value and try new things. So I bought some pomegranate vinegar, cracked that open, drizzled that on the top, and that was my meal. It would be great if I had had some fresh herbs to kind of finish it with, but it was lovely. I had the crunch from the almonds, the salt from the olives, the spice from the seasoning on the sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes and the wheat berries made it very filling and gave great texture. You know, like, you kind of have all those components. If you're getting your, like, salty, sweet, savory, you get a bite, you get the soft, it fills all your cravings. And I try to make sure that the food I'm eating is pretty balanced and as healthy as I can do. I'm more concerned about kind of like super processed foods over eating, like, I'm not afraid of olive oil. I'm not afraid of butter too much. I don't eat it to excess, but I feel like that makes you feel full, and it's delicious, so everyone should eat a little bit of it, right? And it was a lovely meal. Same goes for, like, I just feel like if I have a couple things in my fridge, and I know that I have my pantry well stocked, because I'm always buying those same bulk items all the time, I can kind of have anything I want, right? So I come home, I have a head of broccoli, I have a great baguette, I practically have a meal. I'm gonna take the broccoli and boil it and chop it up and dress it with olive oil and pepper and Parmesan, because I have all those things on hand all the time. And then maybe cook an egg and put that on top, and toast some bread, and maybe have like a big, like, crostini dinner. Delicious. Like, relatively healthy. Maybe not the lightest thing, but all whole ingredients. And I think I really got this cooking inspiration from a book I read over the summer, finally. I'd been wanting to read this forever, called An Everlasting Meal, Cooking with Economy and Grace. And it's by Tamar Adler. Here's my copy. It's well worn. I am constantly flipping through this and trying to glean ideas from it. So I just thought I'd read a little portion of it to you, which I think really sums up the way I feel about food and the way I feel about cooking in general. And this is from the first chapter, or the introduction, which is called How to Begin. We're so often told that cooking is an obstacle. When we cook things, we transform them. And any small acts of transformation are among the most human things we do. Whether it's nudging dried leaves around a patch of cement or salting a tomato, we feel when we exert tiny bits of our human preference in the universe more alive. Luckily, we don't have far to go. Great meals rarely start at points that all look like beginnings. They usually pick up where something else leaves off. This is how most of the best things are made. Imagine if the world had to begin from scratch at each dawn. A tree would never grow, nor would we ever get to see the etchings of gentle rings on a clamshell. I have spare but sturdy recommendations for beginnings and lots for picking up loose ends. Stale slices of bread should be ground into breadcrumbs, which make a delicious topping for pasta and add crunch to a salad. Or they must be toasted and broken apart for croutons or brittle crackers, which has to be smeared with olive paste. Meals' ingredients must be allowed to topple into one another like dominoes. Broccoli stems, their florets perfectly boiled in salty water, must be simmered with olive oil and eaten with shaved Parmesan, or on toast. Their leftover cooking liquid kept for the base of soup, studded with other vegetables, drizzled with good olive oil, with the rind of the Parmesan added for heartiness. This continuity is the heart and soul of cooking. If we decide our meals will be good, remained kale stems, quickly pickled or cooked in olive oil and garlic, will be taken advantage of to garnish eggs or toss with pasta. Beaten turnip greens, so often discarded, will be washed well and sautéed in olive oil and filled into an omelet or served warm on garlicky crostini. The omelets or little toasts will have no cost. The omelets or little toasts will have cost no more than eggs and stale bread, and both will have been more gratifying to eater and cook. Just a tiny little portion of this book that's written in a really melodious literary way, and doesn't provide you with many recipes. It does have recipes in it, but is mostly a treatise on thinking about cooking in a new perspective, which is thinking about using your ingredients through their whole, like the whole ingredient, not just the portion you're used to. So saving that stem of the broccoli to make pesto, or boiling an entire chicken so that you can make chicken broth, and then saving the bones and the scraps of your other vegetables to make stock. And that's the kind of cooking that really excites me, is the stuff that is done in a real holistic way and is very thoughtful about using your ingredients to their full potential. So I'd love to hear kind of what inspires you to cook, because everyone's different, and I might not cook from recipes a lot, but I love reading them because they are super inspiring to me and give me great ideas about flavors and of different cuisines, and it would be great to hear what you guys are cooking, and of course what you're knitting and what you're eating. So we'll keep this one brief today since I don't have a lot of knitting to speak of, but until next time, I hope you stay hungry. Bye.